Welcome to the second edition of Fisherman's Road Stories. It's been a couple of weeks since I did the first one. I got sick as a dog for, I don't know, almost 12 days. It really took me to get over it. Still lingering a little bit, but I feel much better. So, this second story, uh, way back before I was doing Fisherman's Road Stories, I told a story somewhere. You'll find it on my channel, a nitrous oxide story. And I mentioned in that story that it was not my only nitrous oxide story, that I had a few. And so this one will be a throwback because this is another nitrous oxide story. And behind me, that is the World Amphitheater. I guess it's changed its name a few times, but when we went in 1990, I think, the World Amphitheater in Tinley Park, Illinois, turned out to be Brent Midland's last shows. We went to three Grateful Dead shows at the World Amphitheater. And we went there with no place to stay and a tent, hoping that we could find some camping somewhere. And and we did. We found a campsite called the Windy City Campground. I'll never forget the name. The Windy City Campground was literally in walking distance of the World Amphitheater. I'm not sure if it's still there or not, but this was an official campground place where they rented campsites that had services. You could plug in an RV or you could set up a tent, but you'd have your own area with a fire pit. And that was all booked up. But the dead were in town, and the owners of the Windy City Campground saw dollar signs, and they said, "You know what? People can set up their tent in the dog run. It's nice grass, nice lawn. You can set up. We'll just cram as many tents as we can get in there at 25 bucks a pop in 1990. They got a lot of tents. They had a big dog run and they got a lot of tents. So they had the people who had the, expensive campgrounds. I don't know what they paid for those. Uh, and I don't even know if they might have been cramming people into each one of those spots. They might have been, selling five tents to a regular campground. I don't know if they were allowing campfires at the campsite area or not. No fires in the dog run. So we set up our tent in the dog run of the Windy City Campground. And it was close enough that we walked to the concert and hopped in the back of a pickup truck for like $5 a head to haul us back there. Uh, so one night, I think it's the first night after the first show, it's late, it's dark, and we are back at our tent, and from the tent, like right next to ours, we hear that sound of a nitrous oxide tank. I mean, I guess it could be a helium tank, but there's nobody filling helium balloons at a Grateful Dead show at midnight at the campground. So keep hearing them filling these balloons, and eventually, guy pops his head out. He goes, "Hey, can you hear that out here?" Which cracked us up because it's the tent. We could definitely hear everything outside the tent. So they invite us into the tent and give us each a balloon. And we start doing balloons with these guys. And we did a lot of balloons that night. We did a lot of balloons. We were laughing and doing balloons, and the guys just filling them up left and right. Here, another balloon, have another balloon. And I don't even know how long we were in there, but eventually he goes and puts the balloon on the spout, and it goes, and nothing. And they look at each other like they had no clue that this was an eventuality, that this was a possibility, that the tank would eventually run out. And he says, for the one who's running the tank, he goes, "I think it's empty." And the other was like, "What do you mean it's empty? We got to sell that at the show tomorrow, or we're like stuck in Chicago." And they look at us, me and my brother, And they're like, "Hey, man, you guys got to pay for the nitrous that you did." We were like, "Are you insane? You think we have $5 a balloon for two balloons, let alone all the balloons we did? We're sleeping in the dog run. If we had nitrous oxide money, we'd have a hotel. Our tent is set up in dog shit." And we said thank you, and we went to bed. And when we got up in the morning, they were gone. Their tent was gone. Their tank was gone. Their car was gone. I don't know what happened to him, but I will never forget the look on his face when that tank ran dry and his buddy said, "We need to sell that or we don't have a dime." I think when he asked us for money, if this is going back 35 years ago. I think when he asked us for money, my brother gave him like 20 bucks. It's like we didn't have any money. He's supposed to give you a tank's worth of money. I think my brother felt bad and gave him like 20 bucks for the endless, bottomless. It was like a seafood buffet of nitrous oxide balloons that night, and and we had the best time at those shows. Those World Music Theater shows in 1990. So that's my world story, and that is another nitrous story. I got I got one or two more, I think, nitrous oxide stories. Uh, but we will see you next time on Fisherman's Road Stories.